who all of you should perhaps be familiar with, because we were just at Wat Buddha just 2 weeks ago, and we hit on a very busy day at the temple, and we only very briefly had a chance to see you and speak with you there, but thank you so much for arranging the meeting with Bhante Owen. We had a very enriching conversation with him, and we were able to actually visit the temple with our students, and they presented in front of the wall painting. I feel like it's the first visit where we're really just being introduced to this fascinating temple and with him, and I'm thinking that this will be kind of the basis for more involved discussion about temple and its role in the diasporic community for those people who in the UK are worshiping at this temple. So I'm going to hand over now to Venerable Piyobhaso. Thank you so much for joining us today, and he's going to be speaking about Thai Buddhism. Thank you so much.
Right, good morning everyone. Well, let me first introduce myself. I'm Phramaha Bhatsakorn Piyobhaso. Piyobhaso is my monastic name. Actually, I'm based at the Buddha Bodhisattva Temple, but at the moment, I'm taking sabbatical to study the University of Oxford. So I'm really staying. I just came back from Oxford yesterday, not last night. Today, I was invited by Sachada about Thai Buddhism. Yeah, I'm from Thailand originally, but I came to UK in 2006. Until 2014, I moved to the temple, to help them the temple, to give a talk, to give them, to have the school visit, the group visit. In the past 3 years, I thought I have met some students from this institute, but this year, because I was in Oxford, and then I assigned Venerable Owen to speak to you on the 21st of January. I think many of you have been to Buddha Bodhisattva Temple, or all of you?
Yes, just a couple weeks ago.
Right. On the 21st, I remember, because on that day, I know I met Dr. Elizabeth Harris in Cambridge in 2012, 2022.
Yes.
I was there for
years ago. I visited the Buddha temple.
Oh, okay, you've been there. So
I've been there in the 70s.
Sorry?
I've been to the temple when you first started in the 1970s.
Okay, good. Well, I would like to begin my talk by showing you the Buddha Bodhisattva Temple. Okay, so this is the side, but this side is no longer there because it was written, and then we took it down. Here from outside, you can see the wall, and this is the symbol of Dhammacakka with 2 deers crowing. The idea comes from that when the Buddha started preaching or spreading his teaching, so he set Dhammacakka in motion, and then his first sermon took place at the Deer Park. So this is the reason why that we have Dhammacakka and deers. Here again from outside, inside the grounds there are in total 5 buildings, and when they first moved in 1976, there were only the big house and cottage. And then we built the main temple in the Thai style. Yeah, I think everyone knows where the temple is. Once a year, we have the residential retreat for lay community, mainly for female members. We do have retreat for English-speaking adults, but since the COVID-19, I used to run the retreat for the English-speaking adults. We have spring retreat, summer retreat, and winter retreat. And this year we're gonna start with the retreat from the 27th until the 31st of December. It's open for everyone. If you're interested, you're more than welcome to join us. But perhaps I won't lead the retreat because I said I'm taking sabbatical at the moment. But I'm still in charge of lots of administrative work like accounting or financial matter. But in terms of giving the teaching, yeah, I'm taking sabbatical. Inside the monk's residence, and we have the small trial room. So Sri Lanka and Thailand have a lot of commonality in terms of the trial room, but we do have the Bodhi tree. But in our main temple, we don't put the Bodhi tree there. You can see that on the right hand side is the Bodhi tree. So the tree was donated by someone, but later on, when we put it on the vase here, it becomes a plant, probably because of the weather, it becomes a plant now. Yeah. And on daily basis, we use this trial room to do the service like the blessing services or even funeral chanting, and people come to offer food to the monks between 10 to 11. At the Buddha Bhatsakorn temple, we normally eat lunch between 11 to 12. So this is the monastic rules for Theravada monastics. This is the main temple, yeah. But at the moment, because we start repairing the roof, so when you were there, you could see that we have, and the temple was covered by scaffolding. And the temple itself was built in 1979. It was completed in 1981. And since 1981, we have changed at least 2 sets of rope ties. But the problem is, without the proper maintenance, and then the gutter was broken, it caused leaking into the beam under the gutter. Until 2016, and we discovered the damage, and then we tried to raise funds. So far, we have spent nearly £700,000 on the roof project. So we expect to spend about £3 million. When we built the temple, we just spent probably less than £1 million when we built the temple. Okay, inside the temple, as you can see, we have the trial room, and we also have the more paintings on the wall. We tell us about life of the Buddha. In the trial room, the paintings tell us about life of the Buddha, but in the corridor, it tells us about life, the previous life of the Buddha, and like a Vesantara. Yeah, we focus on the 10 previous births of the Buddha. We call it Tosachat, or the great births of the Buddha. So this just above the door that demonstrates the event when the Buddha to be has to fight with the Mara, king of evil, and after that he became enlightened. Right, I'm going to go quickly, yeah, because we still have more to talk about. Well, the photo in the middle demonstrates the Buddhist cosmology. In Buddhism, we believe in heaven, hell. After we die, we may go to hell or heaven. This only depends on your own action and your karma. If you have cultivated good deeds, and after you die, you may be reborn as a human being again, or you can even be born in heaven. On the contrary, if you commit bad deeds, your unwholesome state of the mind will lead you to be born in hell. So this is what the Buddhists believe. In 2020, because of the COVID-19, the national lockdown, and then we took an opportunity to restore the lake, and we removed the dead leaf and mud, and it took about 4 months something, because we couldn't open the temple anyway. So all the monks and some volunteers, mainly female members, yeah, most of them are female members, came to help us. Yeah, so now the lake is very clean. Okay, I will go quickly. This is the bell tower. But bell tower is not often used here in the UK. In Thailand, we use bell tower to wake everyone up in the morning. In some monastery, the monk may have to get up at 4 or even 3:30 for the morning chanting or meditation at 4 o'clock. But here in the UK, we just have this bell tower to show the Thai architecture, not actually for daily uses. So the monks resident from the ad, yeah, I took this photo by myself by using the drone. Yeah, not far from here, as you can see, it's just about 5 minutes from the Buddha Bhatsakorn Temple to the Wimbledon tennis courts. Many years ago, Novak Djokovic came to visit the temple and he even meditated inside the main temple. Because he stayed next door, so it was very convenient for him to come and meditate on his own before he went to the Wimbledon tennis court. And he made it clear that he himself is not a Buddhist, but he recommended everyone to meditate because meditation helped him with his tennis. Okay? So this is the main temple again. So the main temple is covered with snow. Yeah. We have two major events. One in April, we call it Songkran, like a New Year celebration. Another one in November, flower floating. Two events are open to the public with free entry. And for Songkran, on the second Sunday of April, it normally attracts between 6,000 to 10,000 people on the day. So people just go there and enjoy Thai food. Right, okay, let's come to my presentation. Yeah, so I think now you feel more relaxed. Right, so, well, when I was invited by Suchada to talk about the Thai Buddhism, at first I wasn't sure what she wanted me to talk about. Yeah, although I was born in Thailand and grew up in Thailand, and then I became a novice monk when I was quite young, at the age of 13. So I grew up and educated in the Buddhist environment. But when we look at the Thai Buddhism, we can look from different angles. Here in my presentation, they're going to talk about the past, present, and future. So I'm going to touch upon the historical roots in terms of the past, and then we're going to look at the roles of Buddhism in Thai culture and society. Then for future, we're going to discuss the future challenges and opportunity. I welcome any questions at the end, before we take a break for lunch.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, okay, right. For those who don't know where Thailand is, so if you look at the world map, Thailand is one country in Southeast Asia. It's surrounded by the neighboring countries like Myanmar, down to the south, Malaysia, and then on the east, Laos and Cambodia, up to the north, China, Laos. So this is where Thailand is. It's quite about 6,000 miles from the UK. Right, okay, let's talk about the historical roots. Buddhism was believed to be introduced to Suvarnabhumi. Yeah, I think you might have heard the word Suvarnabhumi. Thai scholars like to claim that Suvarnabhumi, or the center of Suvarnabhumi, is in fact one province in central Thailand, Nakhon Pathom, because the word Nakhon means town or city, Pathom means first, the first town. The reason why they claim that Nakhon Pathom is the center of Suvarnabhumi because they discover and some ruin, and then they claim that this could be the place where Sonan Uttara, Venerable Sonan Uttara, first arrived and established Buddhist center there. But based on the archaeological evidence, we believe that Buddhism might be introduced to Thailand during the 3rd century, but we don't know where the location of Suvarnabhumi is. It is still controversial because to me, at that time, Suvarnabhumi was a very vast area. You couldn't identify it is Thailand or Burma or somewhere else. So, from the historical point of view, and we believe that Buddhism might be introduced to Thailand in the 3rd century, after the 3rd Buddhist Council. You know, King Asoka sent out 9 envoys to spread the Buddhist teaching in 9 different directions. So, 2 leading Theras, Sonan Uttara, together with his monks, were sent to Suvarnabhumi. So we believe that Thailand at that time might be the area where Suvarnabhumi covered. But when we take a close look at the influence of Theravada tradition, Thailand inherited Buddhism from Sri Lanka from the 13th century onwards. But it is a long process. I believe that Buddhism was brought to Thailand or neighboring countries by traders, not only by the monks, by traders, by the people who come to that area. There was one king, and his name was Ram Kamheng, who had heard about the Sri Lankan monk who was at that time residing in the south of Thailand, and then he invited that monk to his town, to Sukhothai, and then met him as a Sankaraja, the Supreme Patriarchs. And since then, Theravada Buddhism played a vital role in Thailand. Before, Thai people follow Buddhist teaching, and even until today, we still have animism or Brahmanism. When you look at the royal court, when we have the ceremony, like a royal ceremony, there is always Brahmin rite and Buddhist ceremony. So sometimes the monks will be invited by the royal family to perform the chanting, followed by the Brahmin or Hindu ceremony. And when we have the coronation, all the water will be made like holy water by the monks. But at the same time, there will be the Hindu priest who will recite the mantra to make the water holy. So this is the integration with animism and Brahmanism. So for animism, and if you go to the rural area, like in the countryside, you might have seen the spirit house. In the house, we believe that there might be the spirit, the protective spirit. So for Thai people, before they moved in, they normally pay respect or even offer something to the spirit house with the hope that they will live there happily. When they open the new business, they normally invite the monks. At the same time, they go outside and light an incense and inform the spirit that, okay, I come to run the business here. May you help me. Can you help me to grow more customers, something like that. So this is the belief in animism. Although animism is not actually the main belief in Thai society, but it's still there. As I said earlier, Sukhothai Kingdom, when King Ram Kamheng, the king of Sukhothai Kingdom, invited the monks from Sri Lanka and established Sri Lankan lineage in Sukhothai, and Sri Lankan tradition was spread to other parts of Thailand as well, especially to the northern part of Thailand. When Buddhism from Sri Lanka was introduced to Lana, so Lana covered the northern parts of Thailand and having Chiang Mai as a center. So we have the golden age of Buddhism in Lana. And why we call it the golden age? Because at that time, many Pali manuscripts were written by the monk scholar. I'm in fact working on the Pali literature, on the work of Yanagiti. So Yanagiti was a Lana scholar monk, and then he produced over 13 Pali manuscripts. Yeah, I'm working on that. I try to find out why these Pali manuscripts were written at that time. What is the reason behind his production? And when we come to Ayutthaya period, so Ayutthaya is the former capital of Thailand for 417 years until it was destroyed by Burma. But during 17 years, monks enjoy the support from the local community, royal patronage. The people who have a lot of money, they like to build a temple. So the purpose of building a temple is just to like the playground for their grandchildren. So we can see many temples, ancient temples in Ayutthaya, and if you have a chance, you should visit Ayutthaya once. Well, Buddhism and King in Thailand are like the pillar, the support disorder. Some believe that without the royal support, without the Europatonist, and then Buddhism could not survive. To me, I don't agree with that. Because when we look at Sri Lanka, I once asked Sri Lankan monk, in Sri Lanka, they used to have the king. They used to have the royal patronis from the king. Although there is no king, but Buddhism still survives. So the reason the religion will survive if the monks are strong enough, if the lay community or if the four assemblies are strong enough. Buddhism is weak. But in Thailand, Buddhism relies on the royal support. For example, well, I still receive the royal support, because when I finish my body 9, it is a part of the that they will give money for my food, and we call it Nitayapat. Nitayapat means the money that you can spend for food, because the king didn't have time of food to each individual monk, so instead he gave some money and he called it Nitayapat, like a stipend for monks' food. Now let's look at the present state of Thai Buddhism. Well, at the moment, the Thai population is probably 70 million, and out of this number, over 90% follow Buddhist teaching. Although there are Buddhists, but most of them are Buddhists by birth. I'm Buddhist by birth. When I was young, I knew very little about Buddhist teaching, and before I became a novice monk, the only one rule that I know that as a novice monk, you're not allowed to eat after midday. That's the only rule that I know. And later on, I learned more about Buddhist teaching. I learned more about the Buddhist monastic rules. So, in general, Thai Buddhists prefer to make merit by offering food to the monks. When they go to the temple, when they go to the Wimbledon temple, I always ask them, if you have time, go to meditate inside the temple. They said, oh, I don't have time for meditation. But they always have time for making merit. They always have time for preparing food for the monks. But they don't actually have time for meditation. Well, I quite like Ajahn Chah's argument. And he said, because when he asked one lay person, do you have time for meditation? That lay person said, no, I don't have time for meditation. And then he asked another question, do you have time for breathing in and breathing out? Yes, I do have time for breathing in and breathing out. If you do have time for breathing in and breathing out, then you have no excuse for meditation. Right, okay. Well, roles in daily life. Buddhism is involved in the lay community, in the lay life from the time they were born until the time they die. And when the baby was born, they normally take the baby to get blessed by the monk. And they believe that if the baby is blessed by the monks, and then that baby will grow to be a good member of the community. But it's not always the case. It also depends on the way that that baby is brought up. Then when the young people get married, they normally invite the monks to do the blessing chanting, to bless the new couple. But the monks do not actually lead the wedding ceremony. We don't conduct the wedding ceremony, but in fact, we just give blessing to the bride and groom. And later on, they may come to offer something to the monk, or they can invite the monks to do the blessing chanting first, or they can do it later. And when our members, when the Buddha is dying, it is compulsory that monks should be there to take the funeral service. When the UK has national lockdown, many monks deny to receive an invitation to lead the funeral service in the UK. But I might be the only one who didn't deny that, because to me, this is our duty, this is our obligation to help the people. Um, I sometimes even record the chanting because we were not allowed to do chanting at the crematorium, because chanting is similar to singing. So no singing, no chanting is allowed, and then I was advised by the funeral director to record the chanting. I just stand at the podium and then play the chanting. So this is what happened during the COVID-19. Well, in Thailand, especially at the monastery or the temple, they have the place where the body could be kept, and then the funeral may go for about 7 days or 3 days, and people spend a lot of money on the funeral arrangement. And if you are from well-to-do family, you will spend more. Now in the countryside, for example, when my father died, they just kept the body for 2 days, because if you keep bodies for more than 2 days, and then you spend a lot of money feeding the guests, without invitation, everyone is welcome. This is the only thing that different from here in the UK. Here in the UK, if you're not invited, you shouldn't go to the funeral. But in Thailand, you don't have to be invited. When someone dies, you can go there, and some even simply go there to eat food. They don't actually make any contribution. Right. Then educational influence. In the past, monks play a very important role as a teacher, because there was no school for the young boys and girls, especially in the countryside, apart in the town. So those who would like to receive education must become a novice monk. What about girls? So at that time, girls didn't have an opportunity. So boys would have a chance to become a novice monk. They can stay at the monastery, then they can receive education from the monks. The reason why I became a novice monk, because my parents encouraged me to become a novice monk so that I can receive education from the monastery, and then I would be saved from drug, violence. When I first became a novice monk, and it was in 1988. At that time, we woke up in the morning at 3:30, and then at 4 we do the morning chanting. From 9 until 11 we study. We learn the chanting, we learn the scripture, and then when I moved to live in Bangkok, I started studying Pali, and then Abhidhamma, and then entered the Buddhist University. The temple on top is what we call Wat Pragao, or the Emerald Buddha Temple. It is the touristic place where most tourists like to visit. Inside there is the Emerald Buddha, the Jade Buddha or Green Buddha. There is another temple in another bank of the Chao Phraya River, Wat Arun, or the Temple of Dawn, or even the now challenges in the present. We have to accept that now there's a decline in monastic participation. We don't have many young novice monks. When I novice monk, there were about 20 or 30 novice monks, but now there might be only 1 or 2, because the young boys don't want to become a novice monk, because they have good opportunity to go to the secondary school, they have a good opportunity to go somewhere else. They don't need to become novice monk in order to education. We also have the issue with commercial Buddhists, commercial Buddhist thing. For example, some temple may have something to then they might sell their amulet so that they can get more money. But the problem with the money is, whenever monks have money, and then they always have problems. There are 2 problems that may occur with the monk: money and women, or even men. Yeah. So, from my understanding, when you have more money, you are attracted to someone else and would simply come to you because you have money. So the Buddha even said that money is compared to poisonous snake. If you remember, that on one occasion, and one farmer who was plowing his field, and then he saw the, the bag full of money there, but he simply covered it with the soil and then just continued plowing the field. The Buddha went there because he wanted to save that man, that farmer. When he looked at that bag of money, he said to Ananda, look at snake. Look at that snake. He meant to say that money is snake, but that farmer understood that it could be a poisonous snake, and then he went to grab some stick with the hope to get rid of that snake. So, from my observation, as long as the money is handled in the proper way, it can be used for the purpose of the temple only. So the monk can use money for their own purpose, but they shouldn't keep too much money, because whenever they have too much money, there tend to be some problem. Yeah, so it's happened to the Thai Sangha in the past 5 years.
Did the farmer get the money then?
Sorry?
Did the farmer get any of the money?
Okay, let me finish the story. Sorry. Well, and then the owner of the house, because that night, and someone was robbed. There was a group of the robber who robbed someone's house, and then they just followed the footstep, and then they found the bag of money in that field, and mistaken that farmer for being a robber, one of the robber. And he was being beaten, and then the Buddha went there. The Buddha, because he saw the Buddha and Ananda. So whenever he was beaten, he simply say, Ananda, do you see a snake? Because he referred to the Buddha, and then the police want to ask the Buddha. The Buddha went there to be his witness. Yes, he was not a robber, he was a farmer, so he was safe. He wasn't killed. All right. Right. Okay. Well, now, when I last went back to Thailand in March to April, I could say something different when I was there 10 years or 20 years ago. Yes, for example, when you walk somewhere, for example in the crowd or in the community center, you have less respect from the young generation. When you take the public transport, in Thailand, if you take the bus, the monks don't need to pay for the public transport. When you take the underground train or the sky train, there is the reserved seat for the monks. Although the signs say that seat is reserved for the monks. When the seat is taken by someone else, although the monk is one monk is standing there, no one would offer you the seat. So this is quite surprised, because when I was a novice monk, even though I was a novice monk, and we were highly respected by the people, but now young generation have less respect to the monks because of the scandals. I thought because of the scandals. Almost every day on the social media, on the news, there are lots of scandals, sexual scandals or even drug scandals. Above, I think in 2018, 5 monks from the Royal Monastery in Bangkok were arrested for money laundering. Yeah, I know all of them, and they even came to visit me in the UK. And now they are not guilty, and then they have the status back. They were in the prison for, I think, for 3 years something. Yeah, but now they're all of them are innocent. Yeah, and then down below, this happened probably in 2000 and Yeah, 2012 something. Yeah, 2010, sorry, 2010. Some monks joined political protest. Yeah, I never joined that because this is not what I like. Well, I just keep watching them. Because Buddhism in Thailand is supported by the government. So by law, the abbot is like the government official. And if something happens, you can't deny responsibility. And someone can report to the police, although without investigation, and if you're arrested, and then if the police thought that you might try to escape, try to leave. So if they decide that you shouldn't and have them backward, then you will be forced to disrobe. Although you don't say that you want to disrobe, but by law you will be forced to disrobe. In Thailand, if you are not appointed as the preceptor upachaya means the person who is able to give an ordination to the young people or to those who would like to be ordained. If you are not appointed by the Sangha authority, you can end up in the prison. Yeah, so it's unlike other countries like in Myanmar or in some other countries, even in Sri Lanka. I'm not quite sure in Sri Lanka, but in Myanmar, if you're at least 10 vasa, if you have been amongst for at least 10 years, and then you can be upachaya. It is eligible for you to ordain anyone.
Same in Sri Lanka.
Same in Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Yes.
So last April, I received the official appointment as upachaya, but I can be allowed to ordain only here in the UK. When I go back to Thailand, I shouldn't ordain anyone. If I would like to be upachaya in Thailand, I have to receive another training. Okay, now let's look at the feature of Thai Buddhism. About Photo was the school children who came to visit the Buddha Bhatsakorn temple. I was then leading a short meditation. And to me, for the young children, many of them like to meditate. And then I always emphasize on the benefits of meditation. And at first, I always tell them that meditation is not a kind of religious practice. It's not against your religious belief. Because when we meditate, we don't actually pray to God. We simply sit down. As long as you can breathe in, breathe out, you can sit still with the eye closed, you can close your eyes, you can meditate. And then I ensure them that, and if you meditate regularly for at least 1 month, and then you will see the benefits of meditation by yourself. As I said earlier, that now less and less young people join the monastic life because they have more opportunity to receive education from the secular school. So I thought monks, especially in Thailand, have to adapt the way they preach the young people. And if you simply give the sermon in the traditional style and very slow, and then that won't work. That won't work. And when I have the session with the school children, I always ask them to do some exercise. Yeah. And when I talk to them about the 5 precepts, yeah, I use the handkerchief like don't kill, don't steal, respect, don't lie, and don't drink alcohol. And then I do the action and ask them to say the word. So within 1 hour, then it just passed quickly. Yeah, so this is how we choose to adapt the way to teach the young people. Throughout the world, we have many Thai temples. Here in the UK alone, there are more than 32. There are 32. I think throughout the world there could be about 1,000 something. Yeah, 1,000. In the UK alone, there are 32 or 36. I'm not quite sure. In London, we have 3 Thai temples. One in Wimbledon, another one in Woking, and then the last one in East London. Yeah, I think there are about 20 or 30 Sri Lankan vihara. Yeah, sure. I saw this an opportunity. When I first came to the Western country, we always have this question: how many people do you want to convert in a year? We never have this in our mind. So it's happened to me when I live in Bristol. When I approach someone to ask for the direction, I always say, excuse me. I even didn't have time to start the question, and then they just walk away and say, no, thank you. No. They don't want to talk to me. And then I asked my supervisor, Robert Gatton, and he's my supervisor at the University of Bristol. Well, because of the color you are. When you want to ask for the direction, you don't need to stop and just ask for the direction. For example, how can I get to the bus stop? How can I get to the coach station? Yeah. So when we approach the people, I thought more than 90% would think that I would try to persuade them. I would try to convert them. But we don't have the policy to convert anyone. We simply show what Buddhism is about, and then we welcome everyone to learn about Buddhism. And many people simply like Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist teaching, but they don't like to call themselves Buddhists. But many of them, they like to meditate, and they like to do meditation, they offer dana, but they say, well, I'm not actually a Buddhist. And I have seen many people like this. Well, we don't have much time. I just wanted to say peace and wisdom be with you. May the Triple Gem bless you all. And now question time. Breakfast or question first? Yeah.
Well, I mean, first, I just want to say thank you for that presentation. Thank you so much for that really in-depth presentation and very honest presentation about Thai Buddhism. Before we get into the Q&A, I'm very aware of the time, and my concern is also about making sure people can eat before noon. So we have an option to try to have lunch and either bring it back here and have the discussion here while we have lunch, or we can actually take a break and go upstairs and have a short break. I don't know if anyone has a preference. I do want to make sure we have time for Q&A because I feel like these two presentations have spurred, at least in my mind, a lot of ideas and questions that I think would be really useful.
Should we bring our food back here then?
We could do that, or we could just bring it down
Yeah.
and do that way.
Yeah.
I think it might be better because we are running a few minutes late. So why doesn't, if you need, actually restrooms are outside, I didn't mention this. And I will go grab food with some of the students and we will be right back down. But please keep your questions for,
The child right here?
yes, please just wait here.
Oh.
And, if people want to sit here and ask questions, we could do that. That would be great. We might need a few hands.